Good morning, boys and girls. Today, we're going to learn how to use Google Slides to make your background image for your green screen poetry project. You'll remember this week you came in and read your poems in front of the green screen. Now you're going to make the background so we can put your video in front of your background to make it look like you're reading your poem. There are some guidelines to follow, and there are some ways that you can customize it and make it your own. I'm going to show you how to do this. So first thing you'll want to do is log into the computer, and when you're logged into your computer, click here on Google Classroom. Okay, fifth graders, I've added you to Mr. Lawton's class, so you can do this as well. Click on Mr. Lawton, and you'll see here's our agenda for today right here. Today we're going to create backgrounds. You're going to watch the background demo, then you're going to make your background, and when you're done, you're going to start on Khan Academy. Last year we all used Khan Academy, and we're going to use it again for a few weeks to get you prepared for your upcoming state tests. But today we're going to do the green screen poem background. So you'll click Open right here, and this opens the assignment. Then you're going to click Create, and you're going to click Slides. This is going to create your Google slide for your green screen poem background. Now you can see it adds your name to the end. And now you can click on your slide and it will open. The first thing we want to do is make this a blank slide. So go up to the slide menu and click on slide. Go down to apply layout. And then at the bottom, here is the blank layout. Click on blank and it will remove everything from the slide. Now we're ready to get started. First thing we're going to do is click on background. You can choose a color background. You can choose any color on this side or on this side, but do not select a green. If you remember, the way green screen works is anything green gets removed. So if you choose a color or green background, we won't see it. So if you want, you can choose one of these other colors or try something new and different, a gradient. You'll notice a gradient looks like there's maybe a light reflecting in the center of it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose maybe this gradient pattern. If that's the one I like, click Done. Now you can see it's a little darker here on the edges, and there's more of a lens flare light pattern in the center. So we're almost there. Next step is to make a big rectangle. You can go up to Insert, Shape, and in the Shapes menu you can choose Rectangle here. There's also another way to get there. Just click right here, Shapes, and choose this rectangle. So we're going to go to the top corner. We're going to press our trackpad, hold it down, and draw out our rectangle shape. I want you to draw it all the way out, just about to the edges of this rectangle. Then when you let go, it draws your shape. First thing you'll notice is that it fills it with white. We don't want that. So go up here to the paint bucket tool, but make sure you're clicking on the arrow pointing down, and then we're going to choose transparent. That means that the shape is going to be transparent, so the background shows through. All we have is the outline. So let's say you notice that you haven't dragged your rectangle big enough. So you can hover over this square on this side until you get the one-sided arrow, and then click and drag this all the way out. You're going to do the same thing down here. Notice when I'm just over the line, I have the four-headed arrow. This means I'll be able to move the whole shape. Go a little bit more until you get the one-headed arrow pointing in the direction you want to expand your shape to, and then I'm going to expand it going that way. Now I have it almost at the edge. Before I stop, we're going to come up here to the line weight menu. We're going to make this 4 pixels wide. If I click off, you can see that that line is a little bit thicker. Now we're going to divide this rectangle into 2 rectangles. So the left side is going to be where the text goes, and the right side is going to be where a picture you choose goes, and the video of you reading your poem will go on top. So we're going to click here on the line tool. It works like the rectangle tool. You can draw your line anywhere, but if you want to draw it in the middle, look for that circle dot right there. I'm going to start there, and I'm going to click and drag and start drawing down. You'll notice you can draw in any direction. If I hold the Shift key, it locks it into place at specific intervals. Now it's going to be straight if I draw all the way down, and then I let go, and I'll have to go back up to the line weight, make sure this is 4 pixels wide. Now if I click off, you can see that the rectangle perimeter and the line are the same width. Here's where everyone's project is going to be a little different. On this side, you're going to put the text of your poem. If your poem doesn't have a lot of text, you can click on the line, and I would use the left arrow key to move your line to the left. If you don't have that many words in your poem, you don't need as much space over here, so you can move that line over to the left. Then click off, and you can see your poem will go here, and on this side you have more space for an image, and then eventually the video of you reading your poem. Okay? So I think we're ready to continue. Now we're going to start by inserting an image. So click Insert, click Image, then click Search, and in the search bar you can type your search terms. Let's say I want to search for spring, and I click the blue button and I see a bunch of images that look like images of spring. If you want to be more specific, you could say spring in California, and you'll get more specific images for what you're looking for. Let's say I want this image. I'm going to click on it, and you'll see the blue check mark, then click Select, and it will insert this image into your slide. But whoa, it's so big. We don't really want it that big. And I'm going to show you another trick. You've probably seen pictures in the shape of other shapes, not just a rectangle. I'll show you how to do it. This tool is called the Crop Image tool, but if you hover over the arrow down to the right, it's called Mask Image. So if you click that, then we can cut this image into the shape of any shape we choose. So I recommend looking in callouts and probably here in the Shapes menu. Otherwise, it might cut so much of the image we won't recognize it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this callout right here. And now you can see my image has been cut into that shape, but it's still too big. So number one, when I have the 4-headed arrow, I can click and drag. Oops, I'm going to undo that. Go back up here to undo because I didn't have my image, the one that I wanted. Now if I click on that, I can click and drag and move my image in that shape over. I can also click on the top corner and resize it. I can resize it this way. It'll change a little bit the shape of it. I can also use my arrow keys to move it over, nudge it over ever so slightly. I'm going to try to restrain this image to be within the rectangle on this side. So I'm going to just bump it up a little bit here. And if I click off, you can see now that I have that image of California wildflowers in spring in my right side, and my video of me reading the poem will go right here. If you click on it, you can see that you can undo that mask, and then you'd be able to go back and choose a different shape if you decided you didn't like that and you wanted something else. Now, on the right side, we're ready for adding your text. So click on the text box. In this one, you're really just going to click and drag and make it the size of this box. And you'll notice there's a cursor right there, ready for you to start typing your poem. So give your poem a title. If you highlight it, then you can choose underline, so we know that's your title. And we'll go ahead and type your poem out. Ooh, you'll notice this is still underlined, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the underline. Don't you love my poem? Don't you wish your poem was like mine? don't you want my poem to be, to be yours? Whatever your poem says, I love my poem. It's like wildflowers in California in the spring. Okay, but it doesn't fill up the whole space. So now we're going to click and drag and select all of the text. And you can choose the font. You can choose a different font. I will choose, let's see, this font. And I will make the font size a little bit bigger. So if I make it too big, it'll go way too far. I can also try to specify exactly the size. It looks like I got it with 25. So now if I click off, you can see I've changed my font style, I've changed my font size. Now my poem text is over here, my image is over here. When Mr. Lawton and I go this weekend and edit your videos, we're going to put your you in front of this image reading your poem. So yes, you need to choose a color or a gradient background. Yes, you need to add this rectangle. Yes, you need to add this line. Yes, you need to add some kind of an image, and you can mask it into some kind of a shape. And yes, you must add the text of your poem on that side. If you are unable to finish today, Mr. Lawton and I will use a generic background for you, which will not be as cool as the one you make. If you have any questions, just raise your hand and ask while you're doing your work.